So then, my beloved brethren, let every man be swift to hear, slow to speak, slow to wrath. For the wrath of a man does not produce the righteousness of God. James 1:19. This scripture has been the source of why you haven't seen me online for quite a while. I have an anger problem. I had a problem with wrath, fits of rage, anger. And I'd love to tell you it's completely handled. God's working on me. But this scripture is why you haven't heard from me in a while. Be swift to hear, slow to speak, slow to wrath. For the wrath of a man does not produce the righteousness of God. All I've been doing lately is praying. I've been spending a lot of time in prayer, a lot of time in reading. In response to the things that I've seen in the world around us lately that has just filled me with rage. I honestly can't believe. No. I gotta stop. I was gonna say I can't believe that there's still racism and that there's still hatred and that there's still chaos, but of course there is. Of course there is. There will always be hatred and wickedness and evil until Jesus fully, completely, and thoroughly handles it. Many people out there are saying, what kind of good and gracious and loving God can allow the world to go through what it is? It's the same good and gracious and loving God that gave us the choice to choose good or evil. And I've been sucked into a trap lately. I fear that a lot of others have as well. That we're allowing our own hatred, our own frustration, drive a wedge between us and the God who loves us, and us and the ones that God created in His image. When I read this word, it says that whoever believes in Him shall not perish but have everlasting life. It also says there's no such thing as Jew nor Greek, slave nor free. So the idea of one ethnic group or race being superior to another is absolute foolishness. But here we are, stuck with the result of the hearts of men. The source of the problem that we see in the world today is hatred and sin. And there's only one cure for this. That's why you haven't heard from me for so long. Don't you have an opinion? You need to stand up. Of course I have an opinion. Of course I'm frustrated. Of course I'm furious. But what good is one more opinion being thrown out into a cesspool of anger and frustration? I'm learning too that if you stay silent too long, if you don't choose a side, you'll be put on one. So I need to make my stance and my side very clear right now. I do not affiliate with any political party or movement, and I never have. This may shock many of you and maybe even frustrate some of you, but I didn't even vote in the last presidential election. I prayed. That's all I did. I prayed. Lord, have your way. I'm not here to say there needs to be a political movement or uprising. I'm also here in ignorance to let you know that I have no idea how my life is benefited by living in the country I live in and being the gender that I am and the color that I am. I can't tell you how my life has or hasn't benefited from that. I'm ignorant because I have never been anything other than what I am. So I can't tell you. I don't know. And why do I say all this? I say all this to let you know the only cure for the hatred that's going on, the frustration, the confusion, is when individuals choose life rather than death. That's it. There's no other option. Individuals. I'd love to say that if I were to come on here and share my opinion as to way society should move and politically the things that we should do, that it would start an uprising. But here's the thing, we can legislate righteousness and holiness, and it will not change the heart of man. I could be the one in charge and say, we're going to make all these things, legislate all these acts of righteousness and holiness and purity. And we're going to make it illegal to hate people. We're going to make it illegal to mistreat people. But you know what? It will solve nothing, because the heart of man is inherently wicked. It's desperately wicked. And it's so easy for me to sit back and look at all the other wicked men and be like, that is wickedness, that is foolishness, that is disgusting. But then I have to stop and remember that for a moment, I need to look in the mirror and assess and evaluate my heart and my life. And that's when I realized that all I had for the situation was more fuel to the fire. All I had to the horrible, disgusting, what appears to be a racially charged murder, all I had to add was fuel and not hope. So I was no better than anyone else. I have to be swift to hear, slow to speak, slow to wrath. For the wrath of a man does not produce the righteousness of God. The only hope, the only way we realize that we are all equal and made in his image is when we bow down to him and him alone, to the King. And I'm getting frustrated because so many people on both sides of the political spectrum are segmenting Jesus and using his teachings and his scriptures to prove points, but you can't cut Jesus up and apply him to various areas of your life. You got to take him all or nothing. He can't just be a good teacher. He can't just be a wise man. You have to follow all of him. His authority, his Godhead, his sacrifice, his grace, his redemption, his judgment. I'm not saying that anyone is wrong for the emotions that they're having. But I'm telling you, from a man who has dealt with the consequences of his emotions for his entire life, I'm telling you, you are free to act and think however you want, but you are not free from the consequences of those thoughts and those actions. Hatred of any kind will always kill the one bearing it. Hatred is not a weapon that we point at other people and think that it's going to hurt. We can hate anybody we want, but the only person it hurts is us. Now, don't get me wrong. There are some people out there who hate others for absolutely no justifiable reason whatsoever. They hate them just because they look different, act different, think different, whatever it may be. There are people out there that I do not agree with on any spectrum, but I dare not hate them. I share all this because I want you to know that even if you have a justifiable reason to hate someone, say they have murdered someone and done something wicked and evil, hating them is just going to hurt you. Hatred, much like unforgiveness, is like drinking poison and expecting someone else to get sick. People may look at this as a cop-out, but all I have to offer you is Christ and him crucified. If you want to save the world, unplug from this evil, wicked machine for a little bit. Spend some time with Jesus, get rejuvenated, and go and do likewise. Share that message with others. You may be thinking, yeah, but what about them? What about the people who are committing wickedness and filthiness? I just want to ask, has your argument changed them yet? Have your articles that you've posted changed anybody's opinion yet? Or is everyone else just finding something to solidify their current state and to justify their current emotions as the divide between us grows greater and greater and greater? I'm begging you, work on you with Christ. Allow him to infiltrate your life and your heart, and pray that your neighbor will do likewise. We can legislate peace, but we will not have it until it reigns in the heart of men. And the only way it will get there, the only way, is when the creator of the world takes a heart of stone and gives us a heart of flesh and allows us to live for him. I've been praying for this message for a long while. And I'd love to tell you that I am excited to share it. Because I know, sadly I know, that though I come with a message of love and peace, for some, our divide is going to get much, much bigger. I love you all so very much. I'm praying that Christ will reign in your heart and your life. Blessings, church.